I think the definition of greatness is to inspire the people next to you. It's not something that lives and dies with one person. It's how can you inspire a person to then in turn inspire another person, that then inspires another person. And that's how you create something that I think lasts forever. And I think that's our challenge as people, is to figure out how our story can impact others and motivate them in a way to create their own greatness.
Welcome to the Welcome to the 3-on-3 podcast. I'm your guy, Hans Luador, here with my two friends, best pals, compadres, amigos. We're just three gentlemen who love the game of basketball, and that's why we have the number one rated basketball podcast in the universe. Ev, how are you doing today, sir?
If I were any better, it would be illegal. Good to talk to you, good sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. See, you're brightly beaming today, man. Love to hear it. Lou, what it do, man? How you feeling, brother?
As always, man, feeling good, feeling great. Let's get it cracking.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And as always, we have the Pod Mamba coaching us from the sideline. Sir, so we can continue to give you the best basketball podcast out there. Yes. Listen, man.
Ooh.
He's on it. He's on it. All right, guys, we're going to start with some breaking news today, reported by Shams. Trade rumors. Jimmy Buckets. Himmy Butler. Himmy Butler, okay? Himmy
No
Butler.
relation.
No relation. Yeah, no relation. No Sands. Himmy Butler, no Sands. Himmy Butler, no Sands is reported to be out there on the trade market. It's reported that they are entertaining conversations on both sides. The Heat are willing to entertain conversations to trade Jimmy Butler, and Jimmy Butler has made it clear that he's open to going to Golden State, Dallas, or the Houston Rockets.
If Houston becomes a viable player in this contention, yeah, I can see it. And then,
they gotta give up something though, man.
They do. You know, and what does that mean? But hey, are you afraid of giving up Jabari Parker?
I mean, I know
Jabari Smith. Jabari Smith. So
is that enough though?
Well, you know, there'll probably be some picks and playing so on.
Yeah, but, and I don't know what their pick situation's like too.
Yeah, you know, but he's also made it clear he wants to go into more of a win now situation, right? And it makes sense at this point in his career. He's done well. If it is okay, you've done what you can do with Miami, and that's your bar. Which of these teams make it more sense? So now, if you're looking at a team like Dallas, you have Luka and Kyrie there with a refreshed Clay. What does that then mean, right? If you can add that, if you can add Jimmy to that roster. So I think, clearly it's very early on. Trade rumors are always fun, especially as we get closer and closer to the All-Star break, and as we, we'll move on from the NBA Cup. But yeah, I think it's exciting, and Jimmy is definitely going to be a name that I think a lot of teams, I think more teams will come up outside of the three mentioned. But for these to be the initial one, it's going to be exciting to see.
Got you. I meant to cut you off because you failed your assignment. No Blazer talk was mentioned at all. So I'll go to Ev, who may understand the assignment, and because clearly, Lou, I don't know what you're on right now.
My bad. I was talking about a top 3 team in the West. My fault. Sorry.
So, Ev, let the people know, please, because Lou's tripping here. Let the people know how Jimmy will be thriving as a trailblazer, as a Portland trailblazer. Laid the foundation. Let's bring it home, Ev. Bring it home, man.
This guy stinks!
Sometimes the best form of respect is to not be disrespectful. And so that's what I'm going to do as it relates to the Blazers. The same way my good brother Lou did. We're trying to be respectful to you and your team right now, sir. So as we talk about teams that actually matter in this
Wow. There's
conversation.
the Evan I know.
Hey, you
Hey,
gotta.
I could have took the conversation left and said he's coming back home to Chicago. I didn't even do that. I didn't even delude myself into doing that.
You
Evan, don't even start. Just move on. Just move on. Just move on.
I'm gonna stay in Miami for a little bit. So from a Miami standpoint, I've kind of had my take on the Heat now for about 3 years. I know they went to the finals in a fluky year against the Nuggets 2 years ago, but this team has been the same since it went to the finals against the Lakers in 2020. And it's a team that's outside of, I mean, it's a team that's run out of tricks, if you ask me. It's maximized what it's able to get out of this roster. And so now you have Jimmy Butler that's 35 years old in the last year of his deal. And from a Heat perspective, it's pretty much a no-brainer. With a new salary cap, why am I going to pay $60, $70 million to Jimmy Butler going forward? It's not good business in today's NBA market for a player at that age. Jimmy brings you those playoffs flashes. Jimmy brings you about once to twice a month that Hemi Butler mode, but Jimmy also misses a lot of games. Now he's only missed 5 this year. I give him that. He went through some things last year, but Jimmy Butler picks and chooses his spots when he wants to dominate. He's only averaging 19 on the year right now, and it's not because he can't. It's because he carries himself as I will play and be that guy when the games really matter. And so if you're the Miami Heat with the roster you have, you're not gonna get past the elite in the East anymore with this roster. And so I respect them for identifying that. Pat Riley's always been a stargazing type coach, the general manager, then president. That's always been his MO. So he's carried this roster as far as I think that it can go. And so it makes sense for them to look at what they can get for Jimmy now that he's in the last year of his deal. Now, as far as the teams that he has mentioned, Houston probably is the only one, in my opinion, that is a neat fit. Golden State would work from the standpoint of the outside of Steph and Draymond, all of their players are expendable. So if you can make a package work that the Heat will go with, you probably got to center it, start with Andrew Wiggins, and then add what players on top of Andrew Wiggins would satisfy the Heat's craving. That could work from the standpoint that Jimmy's not a selfish player. He doesn't care about it if he's getting 18 or 28 a game, and he may work in that environment with Steph and Dre. But Houston's the one, from the homecoming aspect, as Lou pointed out, to the intensity aspect with the Ime Udoka, to a young team / also competitive and ready to go now that needs that alpha mentality player to get them over the top. And they got an abundance of pieces that they can put a package together for Jimmy Butler. So from the list that has been provided thus far, Houston looks like the best fit. I don't see it with Dallas, primarily just because I think Clay would have to be in the deal in order for a Dallas trade to work, just from a salary standpoint. But that's just my take.
Yeah.
Simon's failed for both of you guys. So, no, I agree. I think out of the teams that Jimmy has listed, Houston does seem like the best fit. They're not a contender, but I think they have all the pieces that would complement a player of Jimmy's tenacity. And he would also have an opportunity to really kind of be a mentor to a talented core. With the Heat, they didn't have the talent. And who is he mentoring? Bam, who has still yet to develop a post move. So, in Dallas, I don't think that fits. Kyrie, Lucas, not enough ball to go around. And like you said, they'd have to give up Clay, who they just got. play offensively, is a better shooter, which is what they need, spot up shooters. Golden State, yeah, kind of. Can you see Jimmy in a motion offense though? And
But you probably lose a shooter like Buddy in the mix of that.
you lose also like the momentum they've had. Like Kerr's going deep in his bench. They're doing better than what people thought they'd be doing. I don't know. I don't think Jimmy does that. Here's this guy. Go ahead.
So Jimmy says that he wants to be on a contending team, because he's older now, so he wants to like win now. So that's why I don't think the Rockets are even an option. I know there's reports about him wanting to come back to Texas, but I just don't see the timing with the Rockets just doesn't make sense for Jimmy's age right now.
Really?
And then
Really?
and then again, like he wants to win, so why even go to the Warriors? They're not gonna win now right now.
You don't think the number 3 team in the West?
It's a 3, 4, or 5 team in the West. Literally,
The
The Warriors have lost how many games now in a row?
I'm talking to Rockets.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
talking to Rockets.
Oh, they're
The Rockets, number 3 team in the West.
but they're young. I mean, do you really think they're a championship contending team right now?
Well, I mean, we say they're young, but remember the point guard's Fred VanVleet, championship winning point guard. You got Dylan Brooks, and really Jabari and Jalen Green won't be on that team. At least one of them won't be on that team. Maybe both of them.
You keep Green. I don't know. You keep Green. You boot Jabari, and then
I get with Ime because he's a championship coach, but
and then you have a stud center in Sengun. Like you have a chance.
Finals, man. So I guess my point is
championship level coach.
The team is I know what you mean. The team isn't as young as you think when you add Jimmy Butler and you move one of their primary young players out to make that trade make sense. And from a Golden State standpoint, there's still championship pedigree there, and this is the last go round for a Steph or Draymond, especially a Steph whose numbers are down this year, because I think the volume of carrying that offense is kind of getting to them. So that they need that other primary offensive player. The question about the motion offense, I think, is definitely valid. Would Jimmy work in that system? But as far as from a win now approach, I think the sense of urgency from their top 2 players is why they will go that route and why Jimmy's probably looking at it.
So, yeah, true. I'm going to think out the box. My 2 teams I think he should go to: San Antonio. Chris Paul, Jimmy, Wemby, some other pieces. I like it. I think that'd be a good fit for him. And last one, Memphis. Ja, Jimmy, Jaren Jackson Jr. I'm just saying.
So do you? So you give up on Payne?
Top. Memphis,
get Payne out of here, man.
You like Desmond Bane? You get him up out of here.
Get him up out of here, bro. Butler, Payne. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But also think about
the Memphis look. Not just for biased reasons. The Memphis look makes sense on a lot of accounts. One, that gritty identity that I always talk about with Memphis. 2, they've been looking to fill that small forward position for years and have yet to be able to find somebody to stick. Now they've got a rookie, Jalen Wells, that's looking good, looking like probably the 3rd best rookie in the league right now, from a rookie of the year standings point. But Jimmy to Memphis would be a fascinating development. Where it developed. Giving up Bane for it, how that would bother me. But not a bad one out there. The San Antonio one, I just skipped over that one. There's a Wemby conversation that we don't have to have today. But
at minimum, you would have to give up Gigi, right? Give up Gigi because
hasn't played a second this year. You have him.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's like, okay, a young talent who has potential. Got to give up Gigi in a package. Maybe Bane, or maybe Triple J. You have one of those in terms of that's also in conversation as well. But I think if
Marcus
you
Smart has to go. No, I think Marcus Smart has to go. I think Triple J, that's too rich a price for a 35-year-old Jimmy Butler. If Memphis were to do it, they want to do it while maintaining their identity.
their core,
maintaining their core.
So yeah, I give it with Gigi. I give up a Marcus Smart, maybe some pick value on some picks, and then maybe you can make it work. I wouldn't be surprised if Bane ends up in that package as well. Right?
Only
It's
because
tough.
of salary.
Exactly.
Like you have to match. I think Jimmy's like at $48 million, so you got to come up with $48 million in salary to make it work.
Yeah.
So the Bane one would be tough to par with, but I like that fit of Jimmy with Memphis. We'll see if we can get him to expand his list a little bit. See if he'll add Portland on there.
Wow. Now you want to add Portland on there.
Reach out to his people,
But Jimmy doesn't have a no trade clause. So I don't think
Aiden and Dame's old house for Jimmy Butler.
Wow. I don't think he has a no trade clause, right? So it doesn't matter where he wants to
doesn't.
go. Yeah, so they can send him to Washington, really.
The only two players in the NBA who have a no trade clause is LeBron James and Bradley Beal.
Bradley is legit stealing money, and he's doing it well. God bless him.
Bradley's doing something. Golly. Getting paid. Must be nice.
Hans, call it what it is. He's stealing money. Stop it.
Okay.
It's okay.
Why you think about that? Let me ask you a question. If you're the Wizards, who's worse, Bradley Beal or Jordan Poole?
Who's worse?
Yeah.
Bradley Beal is stealing money. For the amount of money that he's getting in the production, stealing money. Without question.
Jordan Poole's worse.
So to trade Bradley Beal and to end up with Jordan Poole, I mean, the
That's
Wizards could have just done nothing.
Facts.
But you traded off your favorite word, potential. The flash is what we thought it could be.
I don't know. Only thing about the Wizards, and we'll end this Wizards section in 5 seconds. Only thing about the Wizards is I'm selfishly rooting for them to get Cooper Flag in the draft. That's all. All right, next topic.
This guy, because of residency, this guy, boy.
It's all about.
Fam trying to casually go to games.
Breaking news: Bradley Beal gets paid $40+ million to play the Lakers and rest against everyone else, per sources.
They definitely keep him padded up in the box until certain games. That's what it feels.
I will say this. Okay, so if we're talking about stealing money, I know we're getting sidetracked. It is what it is. It happens on this show. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to put Kawhi up there.
I can't wait till he's done.
You're gonna have to put Kawhi up there, bro.
For years.
Come on, man.
He's been stealing money since he left Toronto.
All right, Ev, it's on you.
Speaking of, you messed me up there, Lou, talking about Kawhi. Thank you for the buzzer, because Kawhi is annoying. I'll just put that out there. That's all I got. Kawhi is legitimately annoying.
That's the soundbite for the reel for IG. Go ahead.
All right, so talking about topics of stuff that actually takes place on the court. So we had conversation.
Eddie.
Listen, I'm just saying. This is a basketball podcast, not a street clothes podcast. Anywho,
Wow.
So speaking of activity that takes place on the court, we had Ja Morant come out a couple weeks ago. I made comments related to saying that he's trying not to dunk anymore, like seriously not trying to dunk anymore. Putting the emphasis on the focus on his body and his longevity in the league, and then that topic then spurred on the 7 p.m. in Brooklyn podcast with Mello and his crew. They had Woj on there, Pod Mamba's favorite former analyst, Adrian Wojnarowski. And in talking about Ja's comments, he went down the road of talking about the All-Star game and saying how players don't participate in the slam dunk contest in large part because their agents advised them against it, saying that it's not good for their brand. It's a lose-lose situation because the way social media works nowadays, all they can do is embarrass themselves. And then going further to point out that the slam dunk contest has lost its luster primarily because we see these guys dunk every day, as opposed to in the 70s and 80s when we only saw these players a couple times a year. So the slam dunk contest was added to the allure of the Dr. J's and the Dominique Wilkins. But now with social media, we see these players dunk so much that seeing it at a slam dunk contest doesn't have the same appeal. What are you guys' thoughts on dunking, the allure of dunking, the slam dunk contest, and protecting your body versus participating in it?
You know, it's very ironic, right, for Ja to say that Woj's comments and in between. Ja proceeds to give us uh, a Vince Carter dunk in game, and somebody who well past the 70s and 80s gave us electrifying dunk contest, right? One that we still talk to this day. I have many thoughts on the dunk contest. Hans is known to soliloquy. I've gone down and saying LeBron James ruined the dunk contest. Uh, hate it. With his non-participation. His non-participation to me was the beginning of the slow death of the NBA dunk contest. But what I will say is,
Gotta protect the brand.
well, 2016, with Levine and Gordon showed us that, hey, as long as there's creativity, you can do it, you know. And even if it's okay, fine. Guys don't want to do the dunk contest no more. It's lost. It's allure because the guys are potentially worried about being hurt or so on and so forth. Keep it in there, but there are people who are professional dunkers now. Keep it in there, and then bring that as as the attraction. Dunking is inherently part of the game. And getting rid of the dunk contest, I think it's what's. So do people just get tired of seeing people make 3-pointers? So the 3-point competition is no longer exciting. I don't know. I can't say that getting rid of the dunk contest is the solution here. Dunking, like I said, has always been a dope part of the game. We love to see it, especially in game. We know the difference of in game versus contest style, but seeing your favorite players and too, Hans, your guy did it. I think all of our favorite players have participated in the dunk contest at some point or another, especially very early on in their career, which I think is more geared towards. But getting rid of it, I don't think is a solution at all. And yeah, even if their agents are advising against it, the NBA can put some other things in place. If McClung can come in and do the dunk contest, go pull them other dudes that are like I said, those professional dunkers, bring them in and then give us a show still. But doing away with it, I think is the wrong thought.
So I don't disagree with Adrian Wojnarowski's take. I don't butchered his name. My bad, Woj. Get better, by the way. I think that there is validity to agents advising against it to protect the brand, i.e. LeBron, right? But I think what did more of the disservice to the dunk contest is the same thing that's ailing the All-Star game, the spirit of competition. So at the end of the day, these guys are athletes, and everybody knows athletes are driven by that spirit of competition, and that's what gives you a better product. So Lou, who has a fond memory of the Levine and Gordon dunk off, it wasn't just the creativity. To me, the creativity was spawned by the level of competition. These guys wanted to go at each other. So when we got the second iteration of it, even though Wade was flawed in how he rated that, we got another great contest because of the spirit of competition. McClung coming in, that was okay because it had a little competition in there, and that's what brought it out. I think for me, what would revive that is if they found out some way to tweak it a little bit to make it a little more competitive. And I don't think it's throwing money at it. I think they're gonna have to tweak the format of it, whether it's horse, can you do what I do situation, or whether it's, hey, here's a video of random dunks we have. Can you emulate that? Or you get what I'm saying? They're gonna have to tweak the the standard of the dunk contest a little bit to bring back the spirit of competition. But I think Roach is half right. Some of these agents are out here advising these players not to tarnish their brand, because also it keeps money in their pocket as well too. So they're looking out for themselves as well. So I have to give them credit on that. But I think the spirit of competition overall, which I will say, Lou's right on that. I think it started with LeBron. The spirit of competition, man. That's what's gonna save that dunk contest.
Yeah,
And
man.
I don't know, man. That's just what it is.
Look, when you started hearing guys say like it's back, yeah, with Levine, I remember I was there the first dunk contest Levine won. I do believe that Levine and Gordon should have had co-winners at minimum for that one. And to act like it hasn't been done before, like, come on, you've had two guys who win the dunk contest before. It should have been that. But yeah, Hans, you're right. The spirit of competition. But you have guys who are generally judges who have been in the dunk contest who can now, because Levine doesn't have to participate in it now. Guys like Levine and Gordon can be the ones to start saying like, okay, here's what I should be part of it next for this next wave, right? Based on what they did, because what they did was great, but they only drew on what the generations before them did. Like there's but so many jumping from the free throw lines you can do anymore.
And then also too, let's be honest, y'all. You have to know the difference between what you're watching and the narratives that are being put out there. Like dunking is a part of the game. We still like to see people dunk. It doesn't get old. As a matter of fact, the league just started keeping the stats of the verts, right? And shout out to Shaden Sharp since they started keeping it. He has the highest vert right now.
Come on,
Stinks!
Let's go, Portland.
Let's go, Portland, baby. You gotta put it out there.
Portland stats in there, baby.
You know what I'm saying? They're keeping it because it's important. We're seeing these guys get high above the rim, right? The athleticism is increasing as the years go by. So
now
clearly,
think about that as your weight.
It.
Yeah, now think of that as part of the narrative in terms of your building to the dunk contest. Perfect.
You guys
this is a perfect player.
You guys did throw out something that made me think. So when you mentioned the professional dunkers and you mentioned the horse, an idea that popped into my head. Well, first, maybe part of the issue is you have to think of these dunks to do them. And so maybe the best players just are like, I don't know what else can be done.
Evan, I'm glad you said that. That's exactly why LeBron would have lost. He would never won a dunk contest. Because LeBron has one dunk.
Well, you mentioned that. Oh, yeah, we know that one.
No creativity.
But you mentioned the professional dunkers, right? What if they were brought in not to be the participants, but to be the coaches of the superstars that signed up for it, right?
Or NBA versus, pro NBA
They would lose
basketball
that.
players was pro dunkers.
They
Yeah,
would
they would.
lose that.
They would.
But no, I think the problem is from an all-star standpoint. Yeah, there's professional dunkers, YouTube dunkers, or whatnot. When I turn on All-Star Saturday night, honestly, I don't want to see any of them dunk. If you tell me that you're bringing in professional dunkers off of YouTube, I'm gonna go watch Netflix like after the 3-point contest. I'm just being honest with you. Now, if you tell me Ja, Anthony Edwards, and you know whoever else, give me one more, are competing in the dunk contest, and Ja's been working with this professional dunker, Ant's been working with this one, and one other one. Then okay, I may tune into that, right? Like, okay, I want to see what they worked on, what they came up with. That alleviates the NBA player from having to come up with dunks that they may or may not be able to. Now we're seeing, okay, they work with the pro to come up with something. So yeah, I know it's the professional dunkers dunk, but I'm seeing Ja do it and see if the dunks he came up with are better than the ones that Ant came up with. I kind of like that.
I mean, I think they just have to. The NBA has to get creative with it. At the end of the day, the NBA has to get creative with this dunk contest, just like they have to get creative with All Star Weekend. But I think what's happening, Lou, is that they have a bigger issue, which is the game. The game has always been the biggest draw, and what's happening now is the 3-point contest is overshadowing it. The rising stars are overshadowing it as well. So they kind of have a bigger pressing issue to deal with, and then they'll hopefully circle around back to the dunk contest. So, but guys, let's move on to happenings in the NBA real quick. What happened this week? Just check in, check out, seeing what's going on this week. So let's jump into our next segment, and we're gonna start with everybody's favorite team to
The Chicago
love.
Bulls.
Yes.
Wow, that's crazy. Hateration is dancery. Got it.
No. I'm actually gonna throw a wrench in here. Is it time for us to say free the Joker? Is it time for us to say free the Joker, man? This man is putting up astronomical numbers, career highs. He's dropping 40 easily, barely winning, if winning.
He's number one or number two in at least 3 categories.
Yes, like he's slated to win another MVP, whether we want to admit it or not.
Bruh,
Like,
was he number one or number two in 3-point percentage right now? Like, what's up with you, bro? Like,
so what's happening here? Do we need to free the Joker? Like, what is happening? And I know we touched on it a little bit, but is the Joker going to turn out to be what Embiid was last season when he was carrying? Remember when he was carrying the Sixers and everybody was like, oh man, and you know, before Maxey started to emerge and all of that. So is this what the Joker's turning into? Like, what's happening, man?
I think what you're saying is more of an indictment on Murray than it is on what the Nuggets need to do around Joker.
Who's been injured? He didn't play in Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm saying I think it's cheaper to go around and figure out.
Oh man, this breaking news is wild here. But go ahead, Luke. Go ahead.
I was about to say, are we gonna state the breaking news?
Breaking news per sources, i.e. the Pod Momber. Lakers will offer LeBron Ramon James, didn't know that was his name, Gabe Vincent for Nikolai and Christian. Really? You're gonna need to offer more than that for
facts.
You're gonna need more than that for Joker.
I think, if anything, once you have a player like Joker, he is your cornerstone unless he decides he wants to leave. And you always work around how do we build around him to make him happy, period. Simply like they've been doing with Giannis in Milwaukee. I think that will be more the strategy than potentially freeing, quote unquote, freeing a Joker. Because he's your cornerstone, he's your leader. Embiid, we've seen him falter in terms of from a point of leadership. a perspective of galvanizing his team. If anything, he's become a polarizing figure both in the locker room and in the media, as opposed to Joker. You know, everything. The only thing they complain about is that Joker likes his horses too much. So I think if anything, Denver will look to, figure out who they can move and bring in around Joker to make it work, as opposed to quote
You said
unquote.
Jimmy to Denver? That's what you said?
Well,
That's wild.
it
That's
sound
wild.
about right. Sound about right.
Go ahead, Ev.
Get rid of Christian Brown for Jimmy.
Let me just say this first, real quick. I consider Hines to be a great friend in action and in practice, but
I see what is going on.
he is not going to be considered a good friend by a good friend, mutual friend of ours, because the only time he brings up the Denver Nuggets is when the Denver Nuggets are struggling. So you expect a strongly worded email / text message from that mutual friend. I don't want to be involved in it. Okay,
You don't want to be involved yourself.
I just want to point that out first.
Pulling a J. Cole, huh? You don't want the beef to happen.
I am. But
you in the sideline, blood getting on you, huh?
Absolutely. But to your point though, we've talked about Denver. This is probably our third time that we've talked about them this year from the standpoint of they're the same team that they were 2 years ago, or at least not better than they were 2 years ago when the teams around them have gotten better. Well, I'm saying they're not better. They haven't improved.
Oh, okay.
In 2 years.
I don't think they're worse. I think everybody around them in at least the Western Conference has gotten better.
I do think they're worse from the standpoint that Jamal Murray isn't the same player. He's not getting past players the way he used to. Clearly the injuries have taken a toll on him, and you see it in his stats. He's only giving you 17 a game. When we started this,
unless he's playing
the very first recording. Right, yeah, unless they're playing the Lakers. Our very first recording was me arguing that Jamal Murray was, if not a top 5, a top 10 point guard. And those days, listen, yeah, he's clearly not that anymore.
Hey, look, I was right with you on that. So
yeah, so when you look at Joker, I mean, he's averaging a triple double. It's preposterous what he's doing.
Wild,
but there have been throughout the history of the league singular superstars who have put up amazing numbers that at best were first round, maybe second round exits as teams because their supporting cast wasn't good enough around them. When your second best player is this version of Jamal Murray, you're not getting past the second round at best in the playoffs. That's just how the story ends. So unless Jamal Murray somehow miraculously gets physically better, or they're able to package what they have into a player that's better than Jamal Murray, unfortunately, you're going to get this Joker season there that he's putting the numbers that he's putting up out of necessity, but it's not going to equate to the highs that they previously had. And we're watching a window that, from a championship aspiration aspect, may be closed. We're just not calling it that yet.
See, this is why I was making the Bucks comparison, because how we talk about Jimmy is very easily how we've been talking about Middleton, right? The guy that we thought the number 2 player, the Batman the Robin to the Batman of that team is no longer who they were, right? Middleton, as we see, is a shell themselves, even though he played a decent game today. In the Cup semis, or rather in the Cup quarters, against the Magic, he's still very much a shell of himself, and this is what we're seeing with Jimmy Butler. Unless you bring in another guy who is going to assume that number 2 role at a high level.
Jimmy Butler's a shell of himself.
Jamal Murray. He meant Jamal Murray.
Jamal Murray. My bad. Okay, Jamal. I think
Murray.
Jimmy is just a willingness. He just He's just checked out. All right, guys, let's get on this last team before we move on to the NBA Cup segment. Let's talk about the Lakers. So the Lakers just broke.
And we moved on from the Lakers. No, my bad. My bad.
Where's the buzzer?
Right.
Exactly.
Subjective,
Once the buzzer doesn't come in.
subjective editing here.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Actually, I think we should just end the show after we talk about the Lakers. I think we can just hold on for the rest of the 18 minutes we got.
Okay,
I mean,
got it.
we can make you want to end the show if you depending on how you talk about it.
You ain't gonna do shit. All right, I control this show. All right, you got that?
Wow. Pop Mambo's out, baby. The fangs are out. The fangs are out of the Mamba, man. Don't
Check in.
I'm out.
You get talking about the West Side, it get hectic. Clearly.
All right, let's talk about the Lakers, man. They just broke their second 3-game losing streak of the season, beating up on my Trailblazers. Before that, they lost to the Hawks because lemon pepper, baby. They lost to the Heat. They lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves. That was the last 3-game losing streak. Honestly, I do want to have a serious conversation about this. Are we actually seeing and I don't want to put all the onus on him because I think there's much more going on with the Lakers than just this player, but are we actually now seeing a decline in LeBron's game? Similar to Brady, it took us a while and he was being hidden by a good offensive line and, a decent defense for a while. So are we now actually seeing that, hey, LeBron is actually on the decline, or is this more discombobulation from an assortment of pieces that ultimately don't fit together? I'll have you start, Ev, as our Laker. I don't know what you are.
Only non-biased Lakers observer on this podcast.
Oh yeah, I'm a straight up Laker hater. I got it tatted on my back. My only tattoo.
I balance out this show's Laker appetite. From a Laker standpoint, it's a roster that isn't good enough defensively and doesn't shoot the ball well enough to exist around a LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And you have a LeBron James that's 40 years old or about to turn 40 years old. So to your first point of, are we seeing a decline in LeBron James? Possibly a continuation of last year from the standpoint of is he able to give you peak performance night in and night out? No, he's in his 21st season. The fact that anybody's expecting him or any franchise is expecting him to give you that is a failure in roster management to begin with. The fact that you're getting now a second outstanding season from Anthony Davis, a solid output from LeBron James, yet you're struggling, shows that this roster has too many holes on it. Connect, Brookie, he's going to give you some struggles, right? Rui as the 3, decent, but from his time in the Wizards, to count on that night in and night out, they had their Cam Reddish flirtation for a week or so, and now that's back to normal. It's a flawed roster. But I give a testament to JJ. They started off the season strong enough to hide you off the scent from the standpoint that this roster needs major work if it's going to compete for something of seriousness. And now that they were eliminated from the NBA Cup, the only thing that they had a chance to compete for this year, they failed to accomplish. So I don't know where they go from there. I got him. Welcome back.
How dare you? I was trying to wonder what the hell Evan was doing. this long
Hey,
tangent,
speaking
his
the
little fucking
truth.
rambles, just keeps going
Speaking
and
the
going.
truth.
And then here it was.
What are you competing for?
That NBA championship. What the hell are you talking about? Every year the Lakers are competing for NBA championship. Every year.
Oh, that's
Gotta
tough.
love the delusion. Look, man.
It's not delusion. It's what's expected from a Lakers team. I know you Bulls fans don't know how that is expecting a championship every year. Neither can the Trailblazers and neither can the
Whoa,
Knicks.
whoa,
But
whoa.
every year we
Listen,
expect a championship.
All I have to say is that the drugs ain't hitting like they used to.
Well,
his
my
drugs are wearing
fentanyl
off.
plug, he doesn't give it
You
to me
know,
anymore.
look, LeBron's body can only sustain but so much, especially in.
Oh, I think LeBron's a big problem. You guys know how I feel about LeBron this year.
Well, also we know that LeBron, his style of play is very particular. Him taking a back seat is more due to his physical capabilities than his
Backseat.
mental. Yeah,
What
exactly.
backseat?
But that's my point. His mentality in terms of his style of play doesn't lend him to play backseat on any team. Doesn't matter where he plays.
Then he needs to look in the fucking mirror and figure out what kind of player he wants to be now, because he's costing the Lakers a lot of games.
Well,
Shooting a fucking 35-foot three with 4 seconds on the clock.
I think now that Bronny has made it, he
You think he's coasting? He's stealing money? That's what you're saying, Lou? LeBron James is stealing money.
Oh, 100%.
Wow.
He's 100% stealing
basically
money.
what LeBron has done for the league and all his tenure there. I sometimes you deserve a little bit of fluff. So LeBron, if this is going to be,
I don't fault him at all, because Kobe did the exact same thing back in the day. I mean, the Lakers are one of those teams are like, look, we'll give you the money just for as a legacy contract, for what you've done. We'll do you right. But is that best for the team? No. But don't let LeBron stands tell you that he took a pay cut. He was willing to take a pay cut. Like, fucking.
well,
I love the percentage of profanity for Pod Mamba in Lakers segments versus any other segments. It's like there's two Pod
Very
Mambas.
passionate person.
yeah, there's a beauty in terms of like Hans is just a pure Lakers hater. He liked LeBron
100%.
not on the Lakers. Not that LeBron's on
Oh,
the
I
Lakers.
love LeBron. Huge LeBron fan, rooting for him every single time, watching all his games. Then he went to the ops. What you want?
Pod Mama is just a pure Lakers fan. Doesn't care who it is. If you're not good for the Lakers, you're not good for him. Me, I've been told that I don't particularly care for LeBron James. Another conversation for another time. Evan balances us all out.
Evan's just sleepy.
Evan's a fan of the game of basketball. LeBron has been great for the game of basketball for 21 years.
A very long time.
All right, y'all. Real quick. Let's get off this Laker nonsense. NBA Cup, real quick. As we're recording, the Magic have lost. Bucks are moving forward. Right now, I'm gonna call it. The Thunder are gonna pull away, continue to pull away. They're gonna beat the Dallas Mavericks. And who do you guys have? And I like this matchup. I really do. The animosity. Ev, do we need to sneak in? Oh, you're in DC. God, we need to sneak into this game. The Knicks and the Hawks. I like this matchup. They don't like each other. They play hard against each other. They're very competitive. I really, really like this matchup. And dare I say it, I don't know, man. That image we had of our show of Trey and everything burning, I can see the Hawks just, this is their championship. This is it for the Hawks.
Think of how many breakout big time games he's had in the Garden, bro.
This is their championship right now. To beat the Knicks, to stop them from winning the Gary. I think the Hawks may pull this away. Of course, I know Ev is gonna feel different. But what do you guys see? Real quick, guys, a couple minutes we have left. Hawks Knicks matchup. By the time it airs, the results will be in, so call it.
We're gonna beat the hell out of the Hawks. We're going to beat the hell out of the Hawks. Just
say it with your chest, New York guys.
No further analysis needed.
Nice.
I think Atlanta spoils it for you guys, though.
Hey,
Out of pure spite, spoil it.
listen, baby. Magic City in the building. Oh, man.
Just a subtle reminder to Lou. You're talking about the best offense in the league. Remember that.
Oh, here we go.
Just get my money
Brother,
ready.
this guy stinks.
All right, Charlie.
ready.
Look, single elimination.
Let's move
If it
on
was
to the
football,
next
I would
side.
say any given Sunday, but
All right, any given Wednesday. Let's move on to the other side of the bracket. Rockets and Warriors. I think this is good too. The Rockets have something to prove. They're out here winning. They're competing. Like we said, they're third in the West. They're really out here letting everybody know we're competing and we're actually going for it this year. We're going to go into the playoffs. We're going to make the playoffs and they're going to try to advance far. Golden State Warriors, they're the old team. They're the legacy team, letting everybody know, hey, we still got gas in the tank. We have something to prove. I think this is going to be a good matchup. Single elimination, I'm sorry, but that boy Steph, man. If you're choosing one game, I'm going to have to go with the Warriors. That's me, man. I think the Warriors are going to pull this out. They're going to upset the Rockets, man. Lou, what do you think?
with the pedigree. Going with the pedigree, man. I'm going with the pedigree. I'm going with the experienced coach and I'm with the experienced players. I think it's gonna be a great match, just kind of like the Orlando Milwaukee, but I think it comes down to the experience. Golden State.
Ev, what you got, man? Who you got?
Much like the Lakers last year, I think Golden State realizes that this is their only chance to receive any type of championship in this season. So they're going to put all of their eggs into this basket. Really focus on this game. So I'm gonna go with Golden State, and I think they pull this out against a young Rockets team. I think for old teams, there's value in hoisting a banner, even if it is an NBA Cup banner in their arenas. So.
Wasting a banner. I'm so sick of
I love the way he said it too, even if it's an NBA Cup banner.
Right. Last thing before we leave it out. Can we say this has been another successful NBA Cup iteration? Games are being competitive. Teams are performing.
I see that the conversation around the point differential is still a thing. So I think there's some things to tweak on that because now there's a conversation of how difficult your schedule is, even if it's within groups.
Yeah.
It's point differential, so that's something to be addressed and what that means. I'm curious to see what the numbers are this year for viewership and engagement in the NBA Cup as opposed to last year. But I mean, I think overall, I think the teams who have figured it, like we talked about before, older teams who may not have something necessarily to play for, and young teams that have an opportunity to prove themselves, this is great for those markets to still give us some competitive basketball.
Yeah, 100%. Go ahead, Av.
I think so. From the start of it, the NBA did a great job. What's one of the first signature memories of the season? That Clay returned to Golden State for Dallas, right in the NBA Cup game. They done a good job of matching storylines with the NBA Cup. I gave my fair and balanced opinion of Knicks and Hawks, but you look at the matchups that you ended up with here in the knockout round, right? Spicy matchup, Knicks and Hawks. Spicy matchup playing out OKC and Dallas, a playoff rematch. Fascinating matchup between Golden State and Houston. Your final is almost guaranteed to be a compelling matchup, whoever makes it, right? So I think, for the second year, I think you've had success in the product and the quality of games. It's still going to take a couple more years for that Tuesday, Friday battle rhythm to sink in from an identity standpoint of, hey, these nights are different. These nights mean more. But the fact that there have been games with added attention, eyeballs, and stakes in November and December, I mean, that's a win for the NBA and something they can continue to grow on. And the courts look better this year. Courts look better than they did last.
I was about to say slightly. They still. Hey, look, if you epileptic, good luck.
They'll get that. They'll get
Subtle changes in paint type.
Yeah, having the TNT crew attached to these, I think, has also been important as well because it then gives you
100%
more entertainment.
100%. I agree. I think that it's still a success as far as the end game for the NBA. More competitive basketball early on in the season, which is something we needed. More viewership. I think it'll take years, like Ev says, for the NBA Cup to be its own thing for people to be tuning into. But if the results right now, the fruits we're getting, I think, are great. We're getting competitive basketball early in the season, which is all we can hope for. So I definitely appreciate it. All right, guys, that's all we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it as always. Please make sure you hit us up on our socials. Check us out there. Hit us up on YouTube. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. See you guys next week. Peace.
What's up, guys, and thanks for listening. I want you to do 2 things for me right now. 1, give this episode a thumbs up, and 2, be sure to subscribe to our channel. You can also follow us on all the socials at the 3on3 Podcast and send us an email at the 3on3podcast@gmail.com. We appreciate you, and tune in next week.